The Kresh warcruiser Venomfang had been tracking the small Terran cargo vessel for 3 solar cycles. Commander Zarakth clicked his mandibles in satisfaction, as his prey finally came within weapons range. The humans had been expanding too aggressively into the Outer Rim territories, and it was time to teach them the price of their arrogance. Target locked, his weapons officer hissed. Terran vessel designation Morningstar. Crew complement 2. Only 2 humans. This would be easier than anticipated. Zarakth had heard the stories, wild tales of human ferocity and unpredictability, but he dismissed them as propaganda. His crew had hunted dozens of species across the galaxy. Humans would be no different. Disable their engines, Zarakth commanded. I want them alive for the harvest markets. The plasma lance struck true and the Morningstar lurched to a halt, venting atmosphere from its aft section. The Kresh cruiser closed in like a predator circling wounded prey. Inside the Morningstar, Elsa gripped her console as sparks erupted around her. The impact had knocked out their primary systems, and warning klaxons screamed through the cramped cockpit. She was a cargo hauler, not a fighter, 26 years old with brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, dressed in an oil-stained flight suit. Her blue eyes met those of her co-pilot and younger brother Leo. Well, Leo said, his voice surprisingly calm for a 23-year-old facing his first hostile contact. That's not ideal. Despite the situation, Elsa almost smiled. Leo had always had a gift for understatement, where she was methodical and cautious. He was quick-thinking and adaptable, qualities that had kept them alive in the dangerous business of frontier trade. Life support's down to 40%, Elsa reported, her fingers flying across the damaged interface, and we've got maybe 5 minutes before they board us. Leo unbuckled from his seat and moved to a panel near the rear bulkhead. Remember what Dad used to say about desperate times? Desperate times call for creative solutions, Elsa recited, already understanding his plan. Their father had been a veteran of the Proxima conflicts, and he'd taught them that humans had one advantage other species often lacked: adaptability born from surviving on a death world. The Kresh don't know what they're dealing with, Leo muttered, pulling out their emergency toolkit. They think we're just soft cargo haulers. Elsa checked the external cameras. The alien cruiser was deploying boarding pods, 6 of them, each carrying 4 heavily armed Kresh warriors. 24 professional hunters against 2 civilian humans. Leo, even with Dad's tricks, the math doesn't look good. Then we changed the equation, he replied, connecting cables to the environmental system. How's your vacuum tolerance? She understood immediately. Earth's gravity was 1.2 times standard galactic norm. Earth's atmospheric pressure was higher. Earth's oxygen content was actually toxic to most species in concentrated doses, and Earth's children learned to hold their breath in swimming pools before they could walk. 3 minutes, Elsa confirmed. Maybe 4 if I'm not exerting myself. That'll do. The first Kresh boarding team cut through the airlock with practiced efficiency. Commander Zarakth watched via helmet cam as his warriors flooded into the cargo vessel, weapons raised. The interior was dark, illuminated only by emergency lighting. Scan for heat signatures, he ordered. 2 contacts, Commander. Deeper in the ship, they appear to be in the cargo hold. Foolish humans trying to hide. Zarakth's mandibles clicked in amusement. Team 1, advance and secure. Remember, alive but subdued. Damaged merchandise sells poorly. The Kresh moved through the corridors in formation, their 4 legs making them stable and fast. They reached the cargo hold entrance and breached it in one smooth motion. The hold was completely depressurized. Emergency lights flickered over floating cargo containers, and in the center of the room, tethered to a support beam, floated 2 humans in emergency suits. Surrender, humans, the team leader growled through his translator. Neither human moved. They appeared unconscious, probably from oxygen deprivation during the rapid decompression. The Kresh team advanced cautiously into the zero-gravity environment. They were 3 meters from their prey when everything went wrong. The unconscious humans moved with startling speed. Elsa released her tether and kicked off the beam, propelling herself toward the nearest Kresh warrior. Before the alien could react, she'd wrapped her legs around his torso. A wrestling move her father had taught her, adapted for 0G, and triggered the emergency oxygen purge on his suit. Leo moved simultaneously, using a cargo hook to snag another warrior and pull him into a cargo container. The magnetic seals slammed shut, trapping the alien inside. The remaining creche opened fire, but in zero gravity and with humans weaving between cargo containers. Their shots went wide. These hunters were adapted for high-pressure, low-oxygen environments, the exact opposite of what humans needed. The Terrans had trained for this. Every human who went to space learned zero-G combat basics. It was a requirement for anyone who wanted to leave Earth's gravity well. Elsa grabbed a fire extinguisher, a simple tool, but in zero-G, it became a propulsion system and a weapon. She sprayed it directly into another warrior's face, the pressure and unexpected cold causing him to flail backward into a bulkhead. Team 1, report. Zrakh's voice crackled over the comm. Leo didn't give them a chance to respond. He'd reached the manual override for the cargo hold's atmospheric system, the one his father had taught him about, the one that most aliens didn't know human ships possessed. A redundancy within a redundancy, because humans came from a world where a single failure could mean death. He triggered it. The hold began to repressurize, but not with the standard nitrogen-oxygen mix most species used. It flooded with Earth-normal atmosphere, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. For humans, it was home. For the creche, adapted to low-oxygen environments, it was poison. The alien warriors began to convulse as oxygen toxicity set in. They'd come prepared for vacuum, not for breathing an atmosphere that would burn their lungs from the inside. Fall back. One of them managed to gasp before collapsing. Aboard the Venom Fang, Commander Zrakh watched in disbelief as his entire boarding team's vital signs went critical. Team 2 was already retreating to their pod, having witnessed what happened through their helmet cams. Commander, the humans, they turned their own atmosphere into a weapon. Our warriors are experiencing oxygen poisoning. We need immediate medical, withdraw all teams, Zrakh ordered, his voice hollow. Now. On the view screen, he saw one of the humans, the female, appear in the cargo hold's external airlock. She wasn't armed. She simply stood there watching the creche cruiser, her expression calm and utterly unafraid. Then she smiled and waved. In that moment, Zrakh understood why the stories about humans always ended the same way. These weren't just another species. These were survivors from a planet that had tried to kill them for millions of years. They'd learned to turn everything, even the air they breathed, into a weapon. Helm, best speed away from this sector, he commanded quietly, and send a message to Fleet Command. Mark this region of space as Terran territory. We are not to engage human vessels again without overwhelming force. Sir, we outnumber them 12-1. We have superior— No, Zrakh interrupted, still watching that small figure in the airlock. We don't. Humans don't fight fair. They fight to win, and they turn their weaknesses into our nightmares. Inside the Morning Star, Elsa watched the creche cruiser accelerate away at maximum burn. She allowed herself a small smile before turning back to Leo, who was helping the creche warriors into emergency stasis pods. They'd survive, though they'd need specialized treatment. Think they learned their lesson? Leo asked. Maybe, Elsa replied, already running diagnostics on their damaged ship. But even if they didn't, word will spread. That's how it always works out here. Leo nodded, understanding. Their father had taught them that the galaxy was full of predators, species that had evolved for hunting, for fighting, for killing. Humans hadn't. Humans had evolved for surviving, for adapting, for refusing to give up no matter the odds. It wasn't that humans were the strongest or the fastest or the most advanced. It was that humans were the ones who'd turn a cargo hauler into a warship, an atmospheric system into a weapon, and their own biological needs into a tactical advantage. As Elsa began repairs and Leo plotted a course to the nearest station, neither of them noticed the recorder still running in the cargo hold, transmitting everything back to Earth's Colonial Fleet Command. The footage would be analyzed, studied, and added to the training protocols, and across the galaxy in a dozen different languages the warning would spread. Don't hunt humans. They don't have natural weapons, so they've learned to make everything into one, even themselves, especially themselves.